My name is Sarah Stein, and I'm the program manager for Venturecat. I've been at the university for quite a long time now, but had spent the last 6 years over at Kellogg supporting their entrepreneurial program, and have been involved in Venturecat for a number of years, but this will be my first role as the program manager, and I'm really excited to be taking on a larger role. So we're going to start off the session with just a pretty high-level overview about what Venturecat is, things that you might want to think about as you put together an application, and then we will get into the more specific details for the 2023 timeline and program requirements and so forth. We'll have time at the end for questions, and we'll also be sharing out this slide deck with everyone after the presentation as well. Right. Hi there. So I imagine that all of you are aware that Venturecat is Northwestern's annual student startup competition that takes place each May. But beyond the competition, the selected semifinalist teams participate in pitch prep programming in the weeks leading up to the competition. And that includes access to pitch coaches and industry track advisors, as well as work with a professional graphic design team to put together a deck for the competition. And this programming is really cool because it pulls in contacts and expertise from the various different units that support Venturecat and the startup ecosystem at Northwestern University. And those are the Farley Center for Entrepreneurship over in the Engineering School, the Donald Pritzker Entrepreneurial Law Center down on the Chicago campus, Kellogg's Entrepreneurship Program, and the Garage. So, a couple of things to keep in mind as you consider putting forth an application. First, that teams both at the application stage and at the competition generally span a range of developmental stages. There's going to be teams that are earlier on in testing and validating key assumptions, to teams that may have already launched their product or service, to teams that are generating revenue. And while we welcome and encourage teams across these various developmental stages to apply, all applicants do need to be beyond the initial ideation phase. So you see it there on the screen. I've got a not a business idea competition. The application reviewers will be looking for teams to provide specific information about what they've done to validate the magnitude of the problem they're trying to solve, demand and interest for their proposed solution or business, and other key learnings that you can share to help us kind of see your path and progress towards launching a product or service that meets a real market need. Additionally, one of the primary aims of Venturecat is to help fuel the development and growth of student startups, both in the near and longer term. So at the application stage and at the competition, we will be looking for teams to demonstrate a level of commitment to working on their venture beyond the competition. If you haven't done so already, I very much encourage you to check out the judging criteria that's on the Venturecat website. The full criteria is up there, but they all roll up into one of these 4 domains. And this can be a great way to help you gauge your readiness to apply to Venturecat. And it also can be a really good tool for trying to see where you might want to spend some energy and time over the coming weeks prior to the application open. All right. The semifinals are organized by these 5 tracks. The applicants can only apply to one of the 5 tracks. And if you have a business-to-business company or a business-to-consumer company, but would also fall into one of the other 3 tracks, we recommend that you apply to one of the other 3 tracks, just because B2B and B2C tend to be the ones with the most applications. If you have questions about which track is most appropriate for your team, we have a section on the website where there's some FAQs about would I fall into energy, would I fall into social impact, that you can look at. And if you still have questions after you've looked over that, you're welcome to reach out to me. Another good way to learn more about the competition is to check out the public showcase from last year. The live stream is on this, on the Venturecat YouTube channel, at the hyperlink on the screen. And there are also a number of pitches from the semifinals presentations that, from when the competition was held virtually back in 2020 and 2021. All right, so I'm gonna pause quickly to make sure that everyone's on understanding what we've covered so far. The next set of slides are gonna cover a lot of more specific information and will likely answer your questions, but all right, good to go. So the 2023 timeline essentially starts with this info session. We'll also be having a workshop on business formation, founders agreements, and teams that might be utilizing university IP that will be in March. We'll also have some office hours aimed at international student founders and US-based student founders. The application will open on Monday, March 27th. So that's the Monday after you all get back from spring break, and will be open until Friday, April 7th at 3 p.m. The 25 semifinalist teams will be notified in late April, and then the pitch prep program will run from May 1st to May 26th, and then Venturecat itself will take place on Wednesday, May 31st over at the Kellogg Global Hub. It is an all-day program, so if it's something that you are strongly interested in participating in, I do recommend that you mark your calendars now. These are a few other, or the other required activities for semifinalist teams. We'll have a kickoff meeting on Thursday, April 27th over here at the garage. It'll be held during the evening, and we do ask that somebody from each team be available to participate in person for that. If for some reason you have a class or something of that nature, you can reach out to me and we can make arrangements, but it's really great for people to be there. Again, the competition day, we need everyone to be in person for that. The meetings with the graphic designers, pitch coaches, and track advisors will all take place virtually. And then every semifinalist team is required to meet with me at least once during the weeks leading up to the competition, and those can take place either virtually or in person. Prize money, good stuff, right? So all of this, the amazing prize pool is made possible by the generous donation of the Levy Institute and Lanny and Sharon Martin. It is exceptional because it is non-dilutive capital. And another fun detail that we'll be continuing on with this year is the selection prize. So every semifinalist team will receive $1,000 as the selection prize award that you can use towards helping to cover legal services and other costs like that to prepare for the competition. Then the semifinals prizes are awarded for each track. There's a first place and a second place. $9,000 for first, $6,000 for second. The grand prize finals prizes are $150,000 for first place, $50,000 for second place, and $25,000 for third place, and a $2,000 audience favorite award, which is selected by a poll that is held during the intermission of the public showcase. All right, the application. So what's included on the application are questions to the judging criteria that I mentioned earlier, connected to the judging criteria that I mentioned earlier, an elevator pitch video of yourself, just speaking to the camera, talking about your venture, your team, and so forth, a 10-slide max pitch deck, and a W-9 or foreign entity registration documentation. And I'll get into a little bit more on that in just a moment, but those are the primary requirements for the application. So these next slides are pretty dense, and I'm going to try and do my best to to boil them down. But the first baseline requirement is that all teams must have at least one degree-seeking, currently enrolled Northwestern student who is a founder or co-founder and has substantial equity in the business. All applicants, all teams will be required to attest on the application that they have or will have an agreement in place by the date of the competition that outlines the equity structure of the various founders and co-founders and equity holders within their business. The full eligibility requirements for Venturecat are also on the website. So I encourage you to read those fully, as I'm just touching on some of the more important ones at this point. All right, at the time of application, you saw that we require either a W-9 or foreign registration documentation be uploaded to your application, and that would include a W-9 with your employer identification number or the foreign registration documentation from the country of registration that you would upload. We're going to have a session in early March rather, again, that goes over forming businesses and office hours as well, so you can learn more about that. But this is at the time of application. By the time that we get to the semifinals, the selected semifinalists, the business entity requirements change. If you are selected as a semifinalist and you receive prize monies or awarded prize monies, in order to be able to get access to the money, you need to have a US-based registered entity. The reason for this is the payments for Venturecat are paid to the venture and not to individuals. And we are not allowed to pay foreign-based entities. This is guidance that stems from Northwestern's legal counsel, and so it's not something that we have any flexibility on. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are a foreign-based entity at this point. And also, you will need a business bank account to receive the money. So that might be something you think about looking into sooner rather than later. All right, so the last couple of slides were requirements, and these are highlighting some restrictions. Businesses that have raised more than $250,000 in equity capital are ineligible to participate unless that capital was raised while the student team member was a current student at Northwestern University. Additionally, businesses founded more than 4 years to the application deadline date, which will be April 7th, 2023, are ineligible to participate as well. Again, the full fun and exciting eligibility criteria on the website, so I do ask that everyone read through that and make yourself familiar just to make sure that you are walking into this with your eyes fully open. And here are some of the details on some of the programming that I've mentioned that's coming up. There will be International Student Founder Office Hours next Wednesday with Lisa Scott. She is an immigration attorney, and she can help provide information on forming a US-based entity to students who are international students. We'll have the business entity formation workshop with Esther Barron and Darren Green, who are from the Donald Pritzker Entrepreneurial Law Center on Wednesday, March 8th. And they'll go over business entity formation, founders agreements, and then we'll also have Sarah Camper from Invo to talk about utilizing university IP within student businesses. And then there will be business legal office hours on that Friday. And all of this will take place virtually. The links for more details and to sign up for the events are on that hyperlink on the slide and on the website. So you can find that there. And then if you have questions, you're welcome to reach out to venturecat@northwestern.edu, or I also have Calendly, a office hours that I hold every couple days a week, so that you can always sign up for an appointment there. And it's a lot of information that was just thrown at you, but there are tons of resources and information available for you as you go through this process. Again, you're welcome to reach out to me, scour the Venturecat website and so forth, but thanks for coming on this really gross night.